Welcome back to NOLA Motorsports Park. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. I'm the coach of PRI, Coach Rick Gailey, and we're here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And our coach today is from St. Charles Catholic, a great friend of mine, Coach Frank Monica. Frank, welcome to Prep Recruiting Insider.
Well, Rick, I can't thank you guys enough for thinking enough of us to have us here. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Frank and I have something in common that I think is very unique. We're part of a very small club, Frank. In 1982, we go up to Baton Rouge. Frank and I are on the same staff at Tulane University. We beat LSU on that Saturday when they're getting ready to go to the Orange Bowl. And on Monday, we get called in and we're out of a job. Is that unbelievable? You were on the staff that beat LSU. You were at staff long enough at Tulane that you beat LSU 3 out of 4 years. But that shows you kind of like the perils of college coaching. No
question, Coach. I mean, you're rewarded for your last ball game, but we weren't rewarded. We were rewarded with being out of a job, and actually we found out in the bathroom, you know.
But you, Frank, you've had 4 state titles. You've head coached 2 at Lutcher, 1 at St. Charles Catholic, 15-0, and 1 at Riverside. You know, you've been in coaching 44 years. I know you started when you were 14 years old. But you've been a fixture here, you know, everywhere you've been, both at the schools we talked about and at St. Charles Catholic and at Tulane. You know, coaching is very, very important to you, Coach, isn't it?
I think you have to have a passion for it. You know, Confucius had the line that he used to always say, find something you like to do, and you don't have to work a day in your life. And I think, you know, I've told my wife that whenever I walk out of the door and I tell her that I'm going to work, I'm going to quit. I just tell them I'm going to school, I'm going to my office. I think it's very, very important. You know, I think that that's why we're in it.
And it's become part of the family business, so to speak. A couple of your sons have followed you in the coaching profession as well. Did you encourage them or discourage them?
Exactly, Coach Gailey. In fact, that's a good point. My oldest son came to him and said, Dad, he finished in cardiopulmonary technology. And he said, Dad, I want to go into coaching. I said, son, I'm going to punch you out. You're not going into coaching. I said, you're going to go in that degree. He spent 5 years getting the degree there. And he said, Dad, I really want to be a coach. And he went into it. Now he's my offensive coordinator. He's head softball coach. My other son gravitated to baseball, and now he's at Rummel as coach. And I have a nephew who's my defensive coordinator, Wayne Stein, who's my defensive coordinator. None of those were encouraged by me to do this because I knew the time that it required, being away from family and stuff like that. But they all loved it. They grew up with it, and I in no way influenced them whatsoever.
Let's talk a little bit about the Comets. You guys won a state championship a couple of years ago. In the playoffs this year, and this is a community type team, and it's a lot more than just the guys who play on Friday. You have a lot of support from the quarterback club. I've spoken out there, Rick's spoken out there. This is a kind of a unique experience you've had in your 14 years at St. Charles Catholic.
Coach, it's nothing like a community school, and you know, and that's what you have in the LaPlace area. And even though there are other schools out there, but we have a close-knit group. We went up to Parkview to play in the road game, and I was surprised and amazed at the people that we drew up there. And many were our own former players. They were standing by the gate trying to encourage the kids, you know, to play better and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how proud I was because they came back to support them. I mean, there's a thing that we say, our mantra is there is that once a Comet, always a Comet. And they came back, and that's what I want to see. As a coach, that's the one legacy that you want. You want your players to come back and appreciate going through a program. That's the one thing that football, the benefit of football, everybody knows about the value system, but it gives you accountability. And that's what I want to put structure in a kid's life. I think that every young man should be forced to go through football. Not from the winning and losing aspect of it, and not necessarily for me, but to go through the structure. It's sort of like being in the military. I think you need to go through that process.
Oh, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And you maintain a lot of contact with your students, not only on the field, but also as an athletic administrator, and you teach in the classroom as well. How you get all that stuff done during the course of a day?
Well, you know, it's amazing how you have to budget your time. And during the season, you go 100 miles an hour. Like, for instance, after we lost to Parkview, woke up Saturday morning and said, what do you do? You know, we have no hobbies, and I mean, we're not allowed to have hobbies if you're a football coach and athletic director, and so your hobby is actually your profession. And I mean, that's something that I think that when you get into this business that you have to understand. 80 and 90 hour weeks, you live on microwave food, and you know, you 4 or 5 hours a night, and you better learn how to drink black coffee.
You've been here a long time. You've coached a lot of guys who have gone on to the NFL. Lionel Washington, one of them. I know you're very close with him. Why is this area so fertile and special? Turns out so much talent.
Well, I think Rick knows this more than anybody. In the river parishes, and especially New Orleans to Baton Rouge corridor, football is important to people. The people on Monday morning at the plants, they're not doing their job. They're talking about Friday night's game or Saturday's game. So basically, it's an inherent pressure that they put on their sons to do well and whatnot, and the families, even on family barbecues and you know, the Christmas dinner, they're all talking about football. So it's important for them. Other sports are important in this area too, but I don't think there's any like football that has the impact on the families and the workers and the support that you get. And so they feel like they have ownership in it, especially if they help you with the quarterback club and on the fields and all the activities you have around the school.
And one of those people that provides support, anytime you're successful in high school, you've got to have a great principal. And Drew Cupid, someone, not only, of course, you're familiar with, but I am as well, have known him for years, not only gives you great support, but he's got to be ecstatic right now because you won a state championship with him as principal in 2011. And now with the Jesuit Blue Jays winning a state championship last week, he's just got to be on top of the world.
He is, and I mean, you know, and all his kids were athletes.
And that's a boatload of them now.
That's right. He had 7 kids, and they're all athletes, so he understands the inner workings and what the coaches go through. He understands it. He understands scheduling, the conflicts, and everything that goes with it. And so it's important to have him, you know, behind you. Because a lot of people nowadays in administration do not understand. They're intimidated by athletics because it's, you know, there are 26 different sports nowadays. So a lot of people are intimidated by it. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't have a hand on it, it can get away from you.
This team went far into the playoffs this year. Why can the 2015 Comet team be special?
Well, for one, we have a lot of our juniors that got like experience this past season. And now we lose some important kids, and we have to find we have to plug in the loopholes that we have right now in our football team. But you know, we're going to use that last ball game as motivation for the rest of the season, because we felt like we didn't close the deal. We felt like in the fourth quarter when we had an opportunity, we had the ball, we did not close the deal. You know, we were driving and we lost it. We were down by 2. And we lost a fumble on it, and it was controversial, but we lost a fumble. And I think that right now, so our war cry all year long is to close the deal and learn how to do that to get back to that big house.
We've got about 30 seconds, Frank, so this might be difficult. You've been successful every place that you've been, and I fully appreciate it. I've seen you from both sides. You tell me why Frank Monica has been a successful football coach.
I think, well, I scare my players. I threaten to throw them off the bridge when I'm number 2. But, you know, I think I've been blessed with a real good, hard-working staff. And some of them coach like me. That's scary, you know, they coach like me and they're saying the same verbiage. And if there's one legacy I'd like to leave behind is a system. I hope that we can leave a system. Now, it might not be the right thing to do, but it is a system. You know, as you, Rick, I've been to a lot of, 12 years as a college coach, I recruited a lot of high schools, and I saw some talented kids, but they weren't led in the right direction. And I just think if you put kids in organizational system, like you did at St. James, and Rick, I don't know if he remembers this, but I told the superintendent, hire Rick Gailey. Yes, I said, because this guy will be successful because he's so organized. Well, I think that history speaks for itself.
And I thank you for that every single day. That's Coach Frank Monica of the St. Charles Catholic Comets. We will be right back after this timeout from NOLA Motorsports Park here in the Event Center in Avondale, Louisiana.